I'm going to like very carefully walk up to one of the coffins and try to.
Do you not understand that we're about to like?
Oh yeah.
Hold the fuck still, then.
Okay. Yeah.
Immediately, you see as the vacant minds in the room turn and just looking towards you, and Maggie kind of the dog-like creature, one of the barbed tongues.
Maggie? Yeah.
The barbed tongue just like wraps up the side of the brain. You see some cerebral juices just get collected by the tongue as it slips back into its mouth, and it steps forward just a bit as the vacant minds fix themselves on the group. You see as the dog-like creature, the fleshy, marrowy, sinewy dog-like creature before you, raises its tail until that bulbous eye, looking about, just elevates from behind it until it fixates right on Izmir. Make a charisma saving throw, Izmir. 15 is not safe. You are charmed. Immediately, looking into the eye, from your perspective, it grows larger. You just feel this warmth in your chest, emanating from it. As you reach your hand forward, it grows warmer, softer, more comfortable, and you're instilled with this want, this desire to draw closer to the source.
Okay, resistances and immunities, please.
It has no damage resistances. She is entirely immune to psychic damage, so much that if she takes psychic damage, she'll heal instead of be damaged.
That's good for me to know.
And it is entirely immune to non-magical damage of all kinds, not just from attacks.
Cast the arcane. I'm going to cast Polymorph on Maggie if I'm within 60 feet.
Okay. Alright, she's gonna make her wisdom save.
No, she's not. She rolled an 11.
She rolled an 11. Gonna add her modifiers.
Please don't be high.
It's not, so she's gonna use legendary resistance. Immediately, Maggie's gonna use a legendary action. At the end of your turn, Patrin, Maggie looks towards you and seeing David fall goes and immediately leaps over and just lands just before you before rising, all 15 feet of dog just right above you. Thon's turn. Camellia from beside you. As soon as he sees David fall, or Dougray fall, he goes, serves him right. And then he's gonna run forward just a bit. 5, 10, 15, 20. Who's out his wand? And just cast banishment on Maggie. And she's gonna burn another legendary resistance on that. Alright.
So remember that. And then.
So he sends it out, and he sees for a second this glimmering sheen just carves its way up Maggie. And then she turns to one side, and it just fizzles out, and he goes, alright.
Don't worry. Fine, you can try again. Don't give up hope.
At the top of the round, Maggie's going to use a layer action.
Everybody's.
You see as she rends her head upward and lets out this... Just this trill, this screech. And as she does, the brain starts vibrating. You see it wiggle, you hear it just sloppily interacts with itself. And you see its cerebral fluids begin to drip from the creases, from the wrinkles, followed by a pink gas that just falls out from the brain and starts to collect along the ground, filling it up like a vessel to a height of about 1 foot as the gas collects across the chamber. With the eye affixed to Isaac, the mouth still dripping, looking at Patrin, the mouth splits open, the brain splits vertically, revealing this toothy maw, this gaping, tooth-filled throat. A barbed tongue kind of whips out just a bit before it lashes out toward Patrin. That's a nat 20. That is a nat 20. You take 54 piercing damage.
That's exactly how much health I have. I'm down to 0 exactly.
And even going unconscious in the mouth, first of all, it's affixed to you. You do not fall. You are grappled.
Yeah.
You feel the tongue wrap its way about your head, and for a moment it feels like it penetrates your mind. Your intelligence score decreases by 3.
By 3? Permanently, or we don't know?
You
I
don't
have 7 intelligence. You have -2, right? For the modifier, -2.
That's right.
Fuck, dude.
Keep in mind what it was before. She's going to drag your unconscious body with her. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, toward Thon. And approaching Thon with Patrin between the folds of the brain. Lets out this muffled and goes in for a claw toward Thon. Hits him. He takes 13 slashing damage. He's scratched across the side for sure, and as soon as he recovers, he just fuck, standing just with these large wounds across his body. And that'll end Maggie's turn. Izmir, you're ending your turn submerged in the cerebral gas. Okay. Make a Constitution saving throw. 14. You feel the hairs on your leg that are submerged in the gas rise, and then a shock lashes out through your body. You're stunned. Paralyzed, as a matter of fact. Camellia, your turn.
Can I move myself next to Dugberry? You see the coffin in front of him?
Yes, here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, easily. Climbing on top.
Where's the gas circle?
Polymorph.
Wisdom save. That's an 8.
Okay.
So she's going to use another legendary resistance.
Oh, how many does he have?
That should be the last one.
She's not one more.
Isaac. On your turn. You're already very close to her, so you spend 5 feet of movement just to get closer.
My polymorph has damn, and then I see that Isaac's still charging. Really? 19.
19.
Okay.
In total? What
Yes,
add your modifiers.
I have -2.
17, that just beats. You come right back. Still submerged in the gas from shin down, right next to some coffin.
I think I'm going to step up onto one of the coffins, get out of its range.
Okay. As her legendary action at the end of Bahamut's turn, it's going to peel open her mouth and crumple Patrin, let him fall out, and turn as the brain spreads open, and she pounces toward you.
Okay.
As soon as the barbed tongue and the toothy maw in between this brain come down on you, you take 20 piercing damage,
Okay, I'll take that.
and you are grappled. As soon as this happens, similarly to Patrin, you feel the tongue rope around your head.
Okay.
You feel it nearly penetrate your mind. As it does, you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
I'm good at that. An 11.
Does not save. You feel as a portion of all that you know is wrenched from you and inherited by the beast. Your intelligence decreases by 4.
4? Yep, 4.
Thon kind of calling out to Camellia goes, "It was a good idea. In proper form." And reaches out to cast Polymorph himself.
She quite loudly says, "Tortoise!"
Tortoise? Oh, that's fucking funny. Maggie rolls a 4. He's going to use another legendary resistance.
Oh,
And as soon as he throws it out, he goes, "No way. It was perfect." And he's going to run himself, still kind of hugging the side of Maggie, very bravely running behind the grappled Isaac, where he will remain. At the end of his turn, Maggie will use another legendary action and claw at the grappled Isaac in her mouth, just kind of running it down the side. You take 15 slashing damage. Now, first of all, the mist dissipates. Still wrapped around you. You can only see Isaac's little marble legs tucked in and struggling out from the base of this cerebral flesh mound. As she lets out this muffled screech, Isaac, you hear this blaring in your very grappled ears, like you're wearing earmuffs, as she just lets out this, and you see as the vacant minds drop their hands, and they look up and they're gonna assemble themselves, gather themselves, and start looking around towards the closest creatures. For her turn, she's just gonna claw Isaac twice.
Oh my god.
21.
Yes.
25 slashing damage
Okay.
on the first. And then that's a crit on the second. You take 44 slashing damage.
Okay, I'm down to 0.
And she's going to spit you out at the end of her turn. Onto the coffin. Her kind of legs at this point just like clawed upward on the coffin, and she goes kind of turning the brain around. Izmir,
Make sure they don't go down.
your turn is over, but you're no longer paralyzed. Camellia, your turn.
Oh god, I don't have anything to do.
Thon, while you're thinking, is kind of like, I'm sorry, I said you had in proper form. As the spirit guardians come around and engage the dog in their little brief instances of combat, just you see as the cerebral fluids dripping from her head start to mingle with this deep purple, this saturated, nearly black, as it pulls to its side. You get the sense this is blood, and as it emanates from her brain, a spark of hope in each of you. Camellia, yes, your turn.
I cast a 3rd level magic missile.
All right. As those needles just embed themselves, she's bleeding from the holes. Just gonna use a legendary action. Having spit Isaac out, she leaps. Right beside you, Camellia, you see as all 15 feet of dog. Alright, so at the end of Baharat's turn, Maggie's going to use another legendary action. Kind of arced over Camellia. She's salivating now.
Yeah, because you're so smart.
You can see it.
Because Isaac and I were not very smart, so just feel that.
And immediately she just lashes out. 16?
Shield.
Oh, really?
I'm
Yep.
still putting up shield and then...
She just clamps over it, around it.
And you hear a muffled scream.
27 piercing damage,
Okay.
and you are grappled.
Yeah, you want me to make that con save?
Yes, please.
3, so 4. Yeah.
In an incredibly pervasive example of an invasive procedure gone wrong, Camellia, some of the knowledge what's very dear to you is drawn from your mind and body. Your intelligence decreases by 3. Also, Camellia, you can tell that the throat doesn't go into the body, it just stops, and the tongue is what's doing all the work here.
Is there something I can do to pull her out?
Yes, you can. You can use your action to make an athletics check, opposed by Maggie.
Athletics?
It does have to be athletics. I'm afraid you're not going to be able to dodge Camellia out of there. You're going to have to pull her.
Well, if I stun Maggie, will she drop Camellia?
Yes, indeed.
Alright, yeah, let's just pump as many stunning strikes as I can.
Okay. Alright. And she'll make her save. What's your DC? She just rolled a 14.
Oh, my DC is 16.
Alright.
Get fucked.
Okay. She uses her last legendary resistance.
Oh, damn it.
But, as you're laying into her, these bruises are really forming, and at some point toward the end, the skin parts, peels like a fucking popped sausage underneath your fist, and you're sprayed with a little bit of cerebral fluid down the front as she lets out this with Camellia in her mouth. Alright, Thon's turn. Skids to a stop in the bones, chucking bones everywhere as this fucking long cape just floats behind him, and he lightning bolt through toward this wall here, careening through David Dugbury and Maggie. She takes 29 lightning damage. The room goes entirely dark when the light is sucked up by this bolt, which careens from Lemon Fawn's hands into Maggie, partially into Dugbury. As it strikes Maggie, she's sent backwards somewhat, just letting this... At the end of his turn, just going to use a legendary action. And Camellia, you feel as you're lifted up off the ground and dragged as she leaps. Okay, that was at the end of Thon's turn. The vacant minds, who at this point have been enraged, literally just turns and attempts to grapple Izmir. Totally beats. No, just backstepping, the vacant mind just goes wide. Totally able to just stand back. In this last effort, you see she's limping, but she's pacing, kind of stalking Thon. And you see as she shakes as though she's shaking water off of her, and the fluid once again, the gases begin to spread out from the brain, filling the room like a vessel to a height of 1 foot. And it is her turn. Just gonna claw twice at Thon. One of them's a crit. First one actually hits, but Thon's gonna use shield. She throws out the first claw. He just holds out his hand, a little bit of weight energy, forms a sort of dinner plate, Captain America style shield, deflecting the first one, and he lets out this kind of prematurely as the second just digs through his chest, straight from the back, and he takes 20 damage. As the claw retracts, he stumbles forward, the blood kind of spilling from his body, he collects, and he just goes, I'm alright. I'm alright. Oh, that was Izmir, it's Camellia.
Third level Maggie is 16.
How do you want to do this?
I mean, like, she's got, like, her spell book in one hand and then, like, a bloody knife in the other. And you just see it, like out into the ceiling, out of the walls, out of one of the coffins, these 3 ghostly needles splurt out, and so does her knife. And you just see her, like, fall into the split hemispheres of the brain.
One after the other, it just bursts out from inside the beast, and she goes...
She's just, like, covered in stupid dog.
That's a good look on you.
Maggie collapses to the ground.